You are listening to the Examine Life with Bram Levinson. Okay, so let me get started by simply saying that I am not home. I am in Greece. And when I am home and I want to record an episode, I get myself into the bedroom closet and I slide the door shut, and it's very muffled and the clothes are all around me, and it's the perfect environment acoustically to record and have that sound quality that I'm looking for. I'm not at home, and the second best option to being in that closet is to get into the car that I've rented for the few weeks that I'm here in Greece and record there. And in this heat, with that magnification of the sun, I figured that probably wouldn't end well, so I'm not doing that. So right now you are listening to me as I talk in my room at the hotel, and I don't know if the mic can pick up the ambient noise, but it's been so windy here over the past few days. And listen, let me tell you something about Greece for me. It is the closest I have ever felt to gods, to mythology. All of the Greek gods, the mythological, stories and narratives. When I'm here, they all feel very real. When I see the sun in the sky, when I, look at the ocean, it's the place in the world that I feel the closest to the elements. Back home in Montreal, we obviously are very close to nature. We have Mount Royal right in the center of town, and lots of green space, but I don't feel the same way when I am there as I do when I'm here. When I'm here, I feel like everything is just a little bit more extreme. So I'm closer to the ocean, and I'm closer to the sky and the sun and the wind. And the wind has been going for days. And it is incredible to sleep, or to fall asleep and to stay asleep with that sound roaring through the shutters of the doors, the balcony doors. Not so conducive to a great beach moment, because there's nothing like being on your lawn chair and all of a sudden having, being sandblasted in your face by a gust of wind. But, I'll take it. If there are moments where I've got to deal with wind, I'd rather be here in Greece. So all that to say that there is going to be a lot of noise around me. There is wind blowing through the doors behind me. Occasionally you may hear a motorcycle or a car drive by the hotel that I'm at. I almost want you to hear all those things. I don't know if the mic will be able to pick them up, but I want you to hear them because I'd like to be able to give you a taste of this moment, what this moment is for me, and to somehow pass it on, because I think everybody should know what that's like. I don't know if you could hear that. It's the wind roaring. Anyway, about 24 hours before I came down to Greece, more than that, let's say 36 hours before I came down to Greece, I went live with this podcast. I published all of the episodes that I had recorded, and went onto social media and onto my website and just went live with it. And I don't undertake new projects with the intention of getting good feedback. I don't think, okay, well, I'm going to do this so that people are going to reach out to me and say nice things. I'm not necessarily looking for the ego stroke or the pat on the back. When I start a new project, like writing a book or creating a training or starting a podcast, essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to challenge myself. I'm trying to up my game with the intention of still offering stuff into the world that is of value and that is honorable and that is an authentic expression for me. And it's a process of teaching myself something new. By and large, my experience in life has been, with a few exceptions, my experience has been that I teach myself what I need to know in order to be able to go out and do what I need to do. Traditional channels of education have been I'd say up to, let's say, post-secondary, have been of little help to me. I'm one of those people whose school wasn't necessarily designed for, or I wasn't designed for it, whichever way you want to look at it. So with this podcasting gig, it's been me educating myself with help from my younger brother, with help from my partner, and just figuring it out, learning the editing software, learning the recording software, figuring out the distribution, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, all that to say that I went live with the podcast, and the feedback has been unbelievable. The outpouring of appreciation, the outpouring of kindness, the outpouring of gratitude has been really, for me, surprising. And it's not that I don't understand that some of the things that I do land well in the world. It's just that I wasn't expecting it. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about what the repercussion was going to be with people. And some of you have been unbelievably generous in how you've reached out and what you've said and written, the texts, the emails. And for some of you, the messages that you've sent have been so clear and concise. There's been no extraneous languaging. It hasn't been like, oh, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. Literally, I've gotten emails just saying, Bram, I want you to know I'm listening right now. This is incredible. You have no idea what this is going to be for people. You have no idea what it's going to be for you, and thank you. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone who has reached out, to everyone who has listened and is continuing to listen. I really appreciate it. For me, this is an exchange. There's a cycle here. What I do in the world is expressed through this authentic expression, and I do believe that in many cases what is coming out of this body, this mouth, is passing through me. I think that the body is a vessel for it. And, you know, that could happen by me, as I always say, standing on the street corner, just babbling incoherently, or seemingly incoherently. Or I could be doing this, or I could be doing classes, or I could be writing books, or I could be giving workshops or trips around the world, and have people to receive what I'm offering, and then somehow offer it back to me. And basically, that's what you've done. You've offered it back to me, and I want you to know that I appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. And I also want to say that it galvanizes me to keep going. And it just reinforces that I'm on the right path, which I knew anyway, but it just reinforces it. So I appreciate it, and thank you. Now, the reason why I brought my microphone to Greece was because I knew that there would be moments where I felt inspired to do this, to record a new episode, and I wanted to be able to have what I needed to get that done. And, you know, as I understood it would be, this morning I woke up, and I don't know, I just felt like I needed to do this. And what I want to tell you, and what I want to talk about, is what I've spoken about many times. Many of you have heard me talk about it before, but the concept that life is a series of beautiful, 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 beautiful moments. And it's not that these moments happen very often. It's that these moments, when they do happen, leave you so alive and humming with this vibration of gratitude, of still being alive, to have experienced it, that you understand that, or I understand that that's what my life is supposed to be about. That's what this life is supposed to be about. See, on the literal level, that's just somebody passing by, driving by, honking. On a spiritual level, universal source, whatever you want to call it, just wanted to reinforce what I was saying in that moment. See, it's good to have ambient noise. I think that life is meant to be lived so that we touch as many of these moments of beauty as possible. And again, it's not just being able to look at something and think, oh, that's beautiful, and walk away and move on to the next thing. It is to experience something that is so undeniably moving and so undeniably gorgeous and shocking and beautiful and heart-opening and mind-blowing that you're just grateful that you've made it this far. You're grateful that for whatever reasons, you're still alive to experience it. Now, I believe that life is meant to be living, capital L, and I offer what I offer into the world because I believe that what I offer is the pathway towards it. The stuff that I talk about and the stuff that I teach are avenues towards making decisions and reframing thought patterns, or changing thought patterns and behavioral patterns, and reframing situations so that we understand on a deeper level, on a less literal level, and a more symbolic, spiritual level, this experience of life. And I believe that it is in that process that we start to find value where previously we may not have, and we start to experience life on a level that no one told us was possible. When I come to Greece, this happens every time. And trust me, I wait to come to Greece. I mean, I come every September, and those of you who have come with me understand what is here on the island of Paros. There's just something. There's an energy here that touches you and stays with you for the rest of your life, and you never forget it. And I had said when I first started giving these trips in 2011, I had set as part of my intention that I would never go back to the same place more than once. And then in 2013, I came here with on the advice of a friend of mine who is Greek, who lives in Athens. I had given my first trip in Santorini in 2011. And she said to me, look, Santorini is beautiful. If you think Santorini is beautiful, you need to see Paros. And so in 2013, I came to Paros and I did my first yoga vacation here. And wow. I mean, listen, this is home now for me. This is one of my homes away from home. And last night was one of those moments where I touched beauty on a level that it was just shocking. It was shocking. It was being here and getting over, I don't want to say the drama of it, but, getting over the traveling over here from Canada it's a process, and there's jet lag, and you get up in the middle of the night and try to go back to sleep. And it's funny, when I'm here, it's a different trying to get back to sleep. I'm not so, stressed about it. And it's not that I even get stressed at home, but I get up, and if I can't sleep, I can't sleep. I go out on the balcony, I look at Naxos in the distance, I look at the stars, I listen to the musicality of the cicadas and of the wind and of the dogs barking in a very call and response kind of way, almost all night. The roosters who they didn't get the memo that, they're supposed to be crowing when the sun comes up and not at like 2 a.m, but I digress. Listen, all of that to say that once you get over that process of having traveled here, there's something that happens, and it happened last night, and it just reminded me. It reminded me of what this is all about. I think that if there is a meaning to life, that meaning is to stay as connected to the good stuff as possible, especially in the presence of all the not so good stuff. And when you consider that everything that exists really solely exists in the mind, then we understand that we could, in any given moment, be focusing on what's wrong or be focusing on what's right. And most of us focus somewhat, if not all the time, on what's wrong. And so it's the awareness. Practicing yoga is simply being aware. And in my opinion, it's being aware to the patterns of the mind, the thought patterns, and being able to identify when they're focusing on the negative, when they're leaning towards the negative, and then just redirect them to something that is not so negative, because everything coexists, right? Everything arises with its, or co-arises with its opposite. So if I'm having a moment where I'm thinking about something that is landing in the body as anxiety or discomfort, then I'm aware of it, and I think about something that doesn't do that. And all of a sudden the body isn't under tension, I'm not under tension, and my experience of life is a little bit better. That's the work that we do in our day-to-day lives. And then hopefully we get to moments like this, where we have made a decision to do something for ourselves. And for some of us, that is a vacation. For some of us, it's time with people or away from people. Sometimes it's just deciding that it's time for a change and changing something, whether it's a job or a habit or a partner, whatever. But life is about risk. And we take these risks so that we can reap the glory. And for all the sacrifices that I have made over the past year to make this trip happen, and all the work and all the organization and all the communication, last night I had a moment, and I'm still sort of riding high on that moment. And I want you to know that that's what life should be. Life should be a series of moments that touch you in a way that leave you vibrating with so much vitality and so much aliveness and so much gratitude and beauty and love and passion and I can't even find a word. The words that I'm using aren't working. It's a feeling, and it's a knowing. And when you feel it, you know it. And when you know it, it changes how you see life. Now, let me be clear. This is not a feeling or a knowing that you start chasing like some sort of high. This is something that happens, if I'm lucky, it happens a handful of times in a year. Which doesn't mean that the rest of the time my life is miserable. That's not true. I love my life. But I, in many cases, love my life because, number one, I recognize the privilege that I have in order to be able to have as much influence as I do in my life. And I make decisions that a lot of people would think are risky and a lot of people would think are scary. And in past versions of me, I would have been petrified to do them, but they're baby steps, and you take one and you see how it pays off, and you take another and you see how it pays off, but you jump beyond yourself. You jump beyond the fear, and you jump beyond that voice inside that tells you shouldn't or you can't or you don't deserve to or whatever. And then you live moments like this. And we should live moments like this, but not in a chasing the high kind of way. We understand that it happens a handful of times in a year. Again, if we're lucky, and if we are honest with ourselves, and if we are making the decisions that are right for us, as opposed to the decisions that are right for everyone else. But when we experience these moments, it reinforces the understanding that life is meant to be lived. Not at a level of mediocrity, not at the level of just trying to keep your head above water and get your bills paid and keep your family fed. And again, I understand I'm talking from a place of privilege. The accidents of my life have resulted in me being able to do this. I'm not crossing a country in search of freedom and shelter for me or my children. I'm not, I wasn't born into a culture that is oppressive or a gender that, is treated differently from another gender. I understand, trust me, I get how lucky I am, and that is pure luck seen through one lens. It is karma seen through another. But nonetheless, for all of you listening, I want you to know these moments. And listen, this is not the hard sell. I'm not telling you to come to Greece. I'm not telling you to buy into anything I do. But I'm saying make decisions for yourself that are going to result in you touching beauty in a way that no one told you was possible, in a way that you may never have seen anyone experience. I want you to know that I'm experiencing it. And it's not to, boast, and it's not to show you how great I am, because that has nothing to do with it. I believe that, if anything, all of our experiences are meant to inspire other people for their experiences. We are living a collective experience, but we're not talking about it. So I need to talk about it, because I need you to know. I need you to know what kind of beauty is out there. I need you to know what it feels like to walk away from a situation or an event or a day or a night where you're just so grateful to have experienced something massive and something true. Feel free to share with me the moments that you've experienced that are similar to this. Feel free to share with me what you know to be true that has been life-changing, that has touched you. And if you're at a loss for what that is or how to figure it out, think about it. and think about what you would like to do that you're not letting yourself do. Where can you take a risk that potentially could pay off massively? Think about it. I'll see you later. This has been the Examine Life with Bram Levinson.